What's up, Vyberz, and happy fall? This is Amazing Vibes, and if you're new here, my name is Sharice, and on this channel, we talk about inspiration, beauty, and lifestyle. So today, I just want to be a little more serious because I just see so much going on in the world, especially in relationships. I've noticed a lot of people can be successful in their careers and get into the bag, but we as people, we're really struggling in relationships. And I'm not saying that I'm better than anybody. I'm not saying that I have all the answers because I don't. I'm not in a relationship and I have not been in a relationship for a very long time. And only God knows if I ever will even end up being in a relationship. And if I do, if it will last. But I encourage everyone today to just look at people's patterns. So, what is a pattern? Well, in basic terms, it's just a regularity or something that's regularly repeated or something that's being said or done over and over and over again. When I was in elementary school, I looked around in the community and I saw a pattern of single mothers in broken homes and child abandonment from the fathers. And I made a decision in my mind as a child that I did not want to go through the same thing that I saw some of my church members go through and some of my family members had gone through and some of what of my friends' mothers were going through. So I decided that I did not want to have children until I got married. And I wanted to marry a man of God. Now, I have not been perfect. I'm not saying I'm an angel. I'm not saying that I'm better than anyone, but that is just a choice that I have made. And although now it still has not happened, I'm still going to keep that commitment even though I'm older and I may not even be able to have children. I'm still going to keep that commitment to myself. I feel like if we as people paid attention to the patterns of others, if we took our time and practice vetting people and not be such in a rush to, fall in love and being in relationships, if we took our time more, I feel like there may be a better chance of some of these relationships working out. Now, nothing's guaranteed. No marriage is guaranteed. I'm not saying if you do that, everything's going to be perfect. You're going to have a perfect marriage and you'll be together forever. Because I understand that people put on in the beginning and then later on things change. But what I'm saying is when you see obvious signs, those are red flags and those are something that you should be paying attention to. So, like the men in my thumbnail, these men have a pattern of either creating broken homes, abandoning their children, or both. No matter what anyone says, a man cannot be in multiple households at once. So there's going to be a lack there when it comes to the children. They're going to be wondering, why don't I have a consistent mother and father both in the home at all times? Ladies, while you're in the dating stage, dating should be to gather data. So if you see obvious signs that this man has multiple baby mothers, respectfully, I feel like you should run for the hills. A lot of women feel that for whatever reason, because they're the new girl, that they're better than the last girl. And unfortunately, I had to break it to you, you're not. We've seen this time and time again, yet a pattern that the new girl quickly ends up becoming the old girl. The same thing that happened to the previous girl ends up happening to the new girl most of the times. Now, you will have your anomalies out there. I'm not saying that every new girl that's in a relationship with a man with multiple kids, that's going to happen to them. But like, let's keep it real. For the most part, in our community, it does. Make sure you get to really know a person before you lay down with them. And I encourage you guys, and I'm not saying that this is totally right, but if you end up doing this and you end up waiting on God and listening to Him, developing a relationship with Him, He's not going to steer you wrong. There's been so many men that and when I was younger, boys that I had crushes on, and because of whatever, thankfully they were not into me. And as I grew up and I got older, I saw that again, that rejection was the protection. But also, as I got older, the Holy Spirit would tell me, this man is not your husband. This man is not for you. So I encourage you to develop a relationship with him and get close to him, not just so he could help you. It needs to be genuine. But when you do that, he's going to start speaking to you and he's not going to steer you wrong. I mean, I've had times where I've even just looked at a man and in my mind, I'm like, oh, wow, he's attractive. And God will be like, no, no, this man is not your husband. I feel like just listening to God will be the only surefire way in making sure you're taking heed to his word and being obedient. That's the only surefire way that it's going to be 100%. Wait on God. He does take his time with certain people. I don't know why he doesn't. Me, I'm 41, never been married, don't have any children. And it gets to the point where I really don't know if it's going to happen. And if if it doesn't, like I'm at the point in my life, it's okay. Like, I'm going to continue to live. I'm going to live a great life and, life goes on. But I'm not going to give up on my commitment to myself and to him by going to lay down just with any man. And I've been celibate since 2013. So count it up. That's been 11 years. Believe it or not, like every woman isn't like out there and just being with any and everybody and ran through or whatever, the term is these days. But that's because I'm waiting on God and I'm waiting on him to bring me the right person in his time and if that's in his will. That's the only surefire way that you're going to meet the right person and you're going to have a marriage and it's going to work out. Anything else, if God's not in it, it may not last. And if it does last, it may not be a happy marriage. Make sure you're paying attention to people's patterns. I went off on a tangent there, but make sure you're paying attention to all the red flags, all the patterns. Like if he has a pattern of being abusive in any way, shape, or form, even if he's joking with you, absolutely not. I had a guy that I was talking to a few years back, and I had went over and sat in front of his house, and he got in my car, and we were just talking, and just all of a sudden, out of the blue, for no reason, he was like, "What would you do right now if I told you to shut the F up?" And it's like he almost changed it to a totally different person. And I went off. I said, "You're not gonna tell me to shut the F up." And I said, "Get out, get the F out of my car." That was back in the day back when I did all that cursing. And he got out and I never saw him again. But yeah, I don't I'm like I don't take these things too quickly anymore. I'm not saying I'm better than anyone again because I definitely used to. And it's understandable if you're like a kid and puppy love and stuff like that. But even then, like pay attention to how these men are talking, these boys are talking. If there's younger girls out there watching, just make sure you're paying attention to how they're communicating with their friends, with any other girl they like, with their parents, with their siblings, all those things. Like I've been on dates and guys have, told me about their relationship with their sister and, how they would be teasing her about her weight. And I went through that with my own siblings. So that definitely wasn't gonna work out. And I, have always struggled with my weight. So if you're teasing your sister about her weight, what makes me think that you're not gonna tease me about mine? And again, I went through that with my own sibling when I was younger, and I'm not going back through that again. So yeah, I had to kick him to the curb. Just little bitty things. Just little bitty things. And he will also like make comments. About my weight, like, oh, well, you look good. You just need to tone up a little bit. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I'm open to taking, constructive criticism, but that compared to like some of the things that I heard him say, it would just give me flashbacks. And, I just didn't want to go through that. Like, so to me, in my mind, that was a pattern of him having an issue with weight. So I paid attention to that. And I always pay attention to that. Like, yes, I'm working on myself, but Rome wasn't built in a day, right? So I can't just push a button and I'm automatically, skinny and in shape. It takes time. So any man that sees me and walks up to me, he's going to see what it is. And if he doesn't like it, he doesn't have to stay. I'm not going to sit here and put up with anything. And I feel like that's what a lot of women need to start doing. Set your boundaries and raise your standards. Abuse of any form. If a man is talking crazy to his kids or raising his voice at you or raising his voice at someone else, and you see that when he's out and about, they're doing that to other people, that's a pattern. That's who they are internally. If you see, if they're not emotionally intelligent and they don't know how to handle conflict, if they're in the stores making scenes and things of that nature, they're going off on any and everybody over any little thing. They have anger issues, they're hotheads. More than likely, when y'all get into an argument, they're going to do that with you too. And when it comes to things like finances, that's another thing. Look at their spending habits. If they're just spending all willy nilly, they're not saving, they're not budgeting, and they're just spending up all their money and they're coming in to ask you for money, asking this one, that one for money, that's a red flag as well. That's a pattern because when you get married, you're marrying that person for who they are. If they have not changed, like the dating stage is only an indicator of what you're going to get in marriage. So if they don't know how to manage their finances before the wedding, they're not going to automatically know how to manage their finances after the wedding. If they have spending habits or gambling habits or whatever, any type of addictions, whether there be financial or just drug addictions or things of that nature, it's not going to magically go away. A wedding date, a ceremony, signing a certificate, that's not going to change a person. A lot of people go into these marriages or go into these relationships having these children thinking that that's going to change the other person. It doesn't. A date, a marriage ceremony, a child will never be able to change a person. The only thing that can change the person is if the person wants to change themselves. Even if they ask God to help change them, God's only going to do so much because he's not going to mess with your free will. So even if you ask God to help you, if you don't want to help yourself, if you don't want to change, then you're not really going to change. Or if you do change a little bit, you're just going to go back into your old ways. If he's a cheater, if he's cheating before the marriage, he's definitely going to cheat after the marriage. Sis, a marriage is not going to stop a man. It's not going to slow him down. I cannot tell you how many men I've seen directly and indirectly over the years, whether they're coming at me or my friends or whoever, how many married men I have seen trying to talk to single women. It got to the point where it made me feel like I don't even want to get married if this is what this is. I remember I went through a stage when I moved back home from California, and I guess because I hadn't been there in a while, and I was, the new girl at the time, I almost had to beat these married men off with a stick. Every time I turned around, there was a married man in my face. And, they like the challenge. I'm like, no, I don't date married men. I don't mess with married men. And I'm not saying like I'm better than anybody. I'm not judging anybody who's done that. I'm just saying, that's just not my thing. And it's like, they don't care. They find it funny. They're like, oh, okay, like, yeah, I'm gonna get you one day. They be saying crazy stuff like that. I had one guy come to my door accidentally, and I didn't know he was married at the time. He didn't have his ring on. He came to my door in my apartment when I lived in Atlanta. He had came to the wrong apartment. And so when I opened the door, he realized that he was at the wrong apartment. And so then he started wanting to talk to me and stuff like that. He was an attractive guy. I didn't see any ring on his finger, so I didn't see any tan line or anything like that. So we ended up like hanging out at the pool later on, and I got this feeling inside of me like this man is married. And we were just down at the pool, just talking, just getting to know one another, and I just kept feeling something inside of me, and I don't have like this gut intuition that everyone's talking about. Like I don't feel anything inside of my gut, but I felt almost like my heart dropped. That's kind of how I felt. And I just had like this feeling, I felt this energy of like, this man is married. So I came out and I asked him, hey, are you married? And he was like, yeah. And I looked at him like he had 10 heads. He was like, what? I was like, where's your wife? Oh, she out of town. And I'm still looking at him like he's crazy. He was like, what? Like it was nothing. And I'm just like, and I'm just like, this is wild. I was like, why didn't you tell me you were married? And I was like, do you have kids? He was like, yeah. Where are your kids? They in the house sleep by themselves? Yeah, by themselves. Oh my God. I don't remember his name or anything like that. They when I tell you I got up so fast and went back to the house, cause what do you think you finna get? And then he gonna come to my house like the next day talking about some, oh, are you sure? Are you sure this is what you want? Do you want a massage? Do you want massage? What I need a massage for? I ain't that stressed out. No, I'm good. Go home and give your wife a massage when she get back in town. Don't play with me like that. So yeah, so one thing I noticed about a lot of men, they don't care anything about marriage. I'm not saying every man is like that, because clearly you have some really good men out there and they love their wives and they take their vows seriously and they do care. But the majority of men, especially in my community, absolutely not. Not from what I've seen. Let me not say most men because I haven't even met most men, but a lot of the men that I have met, they do not care. They do not view marriage the way women view marriage for whatever reason. A lot of them just don't take it seriously. And so I said all of that to say that if the man was cheating on you before the marriage, and I don't know what was going on in their marriage, but like clearly with like, like Cardi B and all these other celebrities out here that's doing these things, if he's cheating on you before you married him, he's going to continue to cheat after because I don't subscribe to the once a cheater, always a cheater, but 99.9% of the time, if he hasn't done the work and if he doesn't want to change, he's probably going to be cheating afterwards. I mean, you do have your men that used to be in the field and they find that one girl and, um, they settle down and they change for her. They say for her, but it's because they want to change whether she was a motivation or not. So make sure you're paying attention to their patterns. It can save you a lot of heartache in the end. So this video is getting a little bit longer than I intended, but that's pretty much all I had to say. And until next time, just remember that you are so amazing and continue to vibe high. Bye.